Hey everyone, this is Vickerman, and today bringing you a preview of Stories: The Path of Destinies. Now, this game is a lot of folks are looking forward to seeing it at the PAX show, but the developers have also reached out to several YouTubers, including myself, to do a little bit of preview coverage of the current build. As you can see, it's giving me the prompt for a PlayStation 4 input. It looks like the game is kind of targeted to PS4, but they are releasing on PC as well. I'd have to check to see if Xbox One is included. I saw no mention of that. Just so you're aware of that. So, Stories: The Path of Destinies, you may be thinking, hey, that's a fairly generic name, but I think that having played this build and read about what the vision of this game is, the name actually means more than you might think. And in fact, it's significant that stories and destinies are both plural. And when you see why, as we play through this build a little bit, I think you might start to get a little bit excited about this, like I have been as well. So, hold on to your seats, and we'll get going here with this preview footage. Now, this appears to be pretty much a hot-off-the-press build. In fact, you'll see, if you look closely at the screen, you'll see kind of developer debug information on the screen. This is not the final product. Keep that in mind as we go through this, that you will probably see issues that will be corrected, and some things may not be quite the same. But basically, this is kind of a limited section of content. I'm not sure. I don't think this is the beginning of the game that they're showing in this build, but I'm not sure about that. So let's go to new game. And as you can see, this game is all about the narrative, really. Our hero is a fox. Is he a fox? Yeah, that's right, a fox. And he's also a captain of an airship, I believe. And the ravens are the bad guys. They serve the emperor, who's the bad guy. So that'll give you a little bit of background. That's all you really need to know going in. As you can see, the narrator, I think, very good. Very fun. I hope you can hear that.
The rebellion was out of time.
Let me give it a bit more. There we go.
Maybe he could. Renato had found out where he could find
the Sky Ripper.
The legendary weapon that had exiled the lost gods. Surely a legendary weapon.
Sounds rather nefarious, don't you think?
On the other hand, his old friend Lapino had sent Renato a desperate message saying he had a brilliant scheme to save the rebellion.
Crafty rabbit.
Could only rescue him. Renato dived the Farfarer towards the abyss. As he felt the heat of the jet stream, the Raven ships peeled off, not stable enough to follow him down there. Now it was time to choose. Lapino or the Sky Ripper?
Okay, now here, as you can see, this is sort of a, how would you describe it? Kind of anthropomorphic animals type of world. It's got airships and floating islands. Very kind of fantastical. But, what would you call that aesthetic? Kind of almost a steampunk animal kingdom type of thing? I'm not sure. But this is what is really, I think, going to define this game, is the abilities to make choices. We can choose how we want to do this. Now you may be thinking, hey, why don't you choose one and you can come back later and choose the other one? Or you may be thinking, hey, we'll choose one and the next couple of choices that we get will not really depend on this much at all, and in fact we can kind of make things go. But from what I understand of how this game works, you can't really see that in this build because I've played through the whole thing that we have access to. But what they're trying to do is to create a sense to where when you make these choices, you're sort of getting into a narrative, and so each time you make one of these choices is actually going to change the entire story, not just the ending, not just the flavor of the world like you sometimes see in things like, you know, Mass Effect. As you make choices, it affects the world, but kind of when you get to the endings, that kind of stuff does not really matter to the ending. What they're going for, I think, from what I've read, and maybe I'm misrepresenting, but I don't think so. What they're trying to do is to make it so that every choice basically creates a new narrative, and that's why I think they're calling it stories, plural. Because each time you play the game, if you choose different choices, the entire story will be different. It's not like you know, once this section is done, we'll have a friend or we won't, but the next quests will be the same. No, that's not what it seems like what they're doing. So it seems like, you know, there's going to be many different narratives here. Well, I don't know how many. It'll depend on how many of these choices there are. But it seems like each of these choices is going to kind of exponentially change, kind of duplicate the number of possible plots that you could have in the story. So that's pretty sweet. So let's make a choice here. I think we are going to, just because I kind of like the environment better, I'm going to go with the Sky Ripper. So the rebellion was out of time, and Reynardo needed a game changer, an ancient artifact that defeated the Lost Gods would indeed be a game changer. Though it was split into two pieces, Reynardo could rebuild it by first getting its armature. So let's do that.
Every child knew about the Sky Ripper. The Transcendent Emperor had buried its pieces. What could have brought them to light?
Is the Emperor a toad?
The Third had once been kind, but he'd gone mad. And now he was conducting secret, obscene rituals to bring back the lost gods. Had he somehow summoned the long-lost components of the legendary weapon out of the deep places of the earth? It was more than Reynardo could fathom. But if he could find a legendary weapon, he would use it.
Sounds good to me. So far, I think the art in this is very cool. You know, it's not, you know, super high res, but look at the kind of style. It feels like a cartoon, sort of. But as you can see, once we get into the environment, maybe this is more the other, but the aesthetic is really kind of impressionistic, I would say.
As he set foot in the isle, Reynardo could not help but feel a tinge of guilt. He'd left Lapino behind.
So the narrator is pretty brilliant, and I really like this environment. I don't know, it's dark. I like the way the plants move. So here we are in the game. The way this game works is actually, it's sort of it's an action RPG. And so we can go and collect stuff where we get ore and wind essence. Those are components that we can use to upgrade our weapons. Now you can see on the left side of the screen at the top, we have a sword. And if we do the arrow buttons, we can change the sword that we're using. Now, the way you get weapons is you basically make more swords and different kinds of swords and different elemental types and things like that. And each one has a kind of a special ability. When you hold R2, basically that activates it. And all the ones that I've seen so far have been like hold R2 and then attack. and then that will do kind of a special attack for you. So, one thing I will kind of demonstrate here. As you can see, the narrator is kind of doing the Bastion type of thing and kind of commenting on what you're doing. I think this game shares a lot with Bastion, at least that I've seen so far. There, now I used the special ability. This is a fire sword, obviously. One thing I want to say right now is, so far, the combat is pretty fun, actually. You know, it's fast-paced. It's not hard. Part of that is that they've started me with a lot of abilities that you have to get later in the game. Like you saw me dash like this. Apparently that is not, that has to be unlocked. There are skills here. You won't get into that too much in this preview build because they've kind of picked stuff for you just to make things easier. So now this is your, you know, your classic, the guards with the flashlights for their vision sort of sequence, but Reynardo can kill them. Another ability that I have not shown yet is I've got this kind of magic grappling hook thing, which will pull enemies towards you, and then you can use your sword on them. But it also stuns those guys, so yeah, it makes that not too hard at all.
Firewalls only let you through if they think you're hot.
Yeah, so you can see the elemental stuff. With a fire sword, I can get through here. I don't have any of the other elemental swords, so I would need to unlock them to open different kinds of doors. And I think in this case, the fire door basically lets you skip that guard section. If I recall correctly, it just kind of makes you bypass it. So there, I can pull this guy towards me, and yeah, it's kind of you're using the, what is it on a PlayStation controller? The square for your basic attacks. And yeah, I'm hitting the X button and towards a direction to do the dash. And the triangle is going to be your hook thing. So we gained a level, so we can show you the stat screen as it is now. Now, I will tell you that stat screens are one of the chief things that change in development cycles. So take that with a grain of salt. Can we get to it? I can't remember. What did that do? I can't remember which button it is. I thought there was a way to get to your... Maybe you have to do that at one of... You have to do it here. Yeah, that's right. So here's some of the abilities. You can see that they've unlocked for me several things. And I have 1 point that I can spend. Countering attack now causes damage. Impale your enemy on the sword when you grab him to cause damage. That seems like a good thing to do.
He welcomed them back like it was at a reunion.
So here we are.
There it was.
So yeah, that's actually the end of this mission, at least in this preview build. I get the sense that there's probably going to be more to the stages than this in the final game. Like, I would imagine maybe a boss before the Sky... I don't know. If developers are watching, I think that seems like that would be an important thing.
There was another island he could reach. Zenobia had just invaded it with her father's Raven battalion.
Yeah, but like I say, I wouldn't think that that would be as short as the different stages are.
Zenobia now, that made no sense at all. He'd already sacrificed one friend to get this.
So you can see we're setting up for another choice
He didn't need
to continue the story.
She would find him.
Yeah, you can see so the narrator is kind of sort of leaning you towards one particular option. So I don't know, we'll go with this one.
He'd sacrificed his old friend Lapino to get the armature. And the armature was useless by itself, only a series of coils and wheels.
Makes
War
sense.
demanded
Don't want Lupino's sacrifice
and he would make more
to be in
before the end.
vain.
He would have to choose the greatest good no matter how much it cost him. Zenobia. Well, he would see her sooner or later, across a battlefield or a sword's point before all this was over. He was sure of that. The power was in the core.
The
Obviously, he
core.
had to get the core.
Okay, so that, yeah, they kind of limit you there. But you can actually do the other choice and rescue Lupino. So why don't we do that? The video so far hasn't been too long.
All that had been years ago.
So let's, can we skip some of this? No, we can't.
And now
So,
3 Raven
yeah.
starships were chasing him. Where are you running, rebel?
The,
Raven captain
like I
of
said, the
Loud
combat so
Renato
far
could see
feels
them
pretty
cranking
fluid,
up their catapult.
which is a good sign
Just going out for
at this
milk?
point in
Renato
development.
yelled back.
Basically what they told me, the reason why it's showing
Raven
PS4
horribly.
controls, even though I'm
Far behind him,
doing
another
the,
city was burning. The
I'm
dark
playing on
cloud above its
PC, is
island was
basically, it's
thousands
kind of
of
developed
Imperial
PS4
ships.
first,
The fleet was
developed
going up
for
thoroughly
PS4. I don't know if they had always been interested in doing PC, or if it was kind of added on later, but they did tell me that full mouse and keyboard support will be in before release, so don't worry about that.
Tornadoes. The rebellion was out of time, unless Renato could bring a game changer.
And I want to say I saw,
Renato had
yeah,
found out where
I
to
saw
find
the
the pieces
Unreal
of the Sky
Engine
River,
open.
the legendary weapon
So
that had exiled the lost
you should know then
gods.
that the
Surely a
technology is
legendary
pretty
weapon
solid.
would win the final battle.
Unreal
On
is
the other hand,
pretty good.
his old friend Lapino had sent Renato a desperate message saying he had a brilliant scheme to save the
And
rebellion.
if I recall their information correctly, they
Renato
are building
dived the
on the
Farfarer
latest
towards
version
the
of
abyss.
Unreal.
He
So
felt the heat of the jet stream.
the way
Raven ships
it
peeled
works a
off.
lot of
Not
times is
stable
a
enough to
new
follow him
version
down
of the
there.
engine will
Now
come
it was
out,
time to choose.
and a lot of people will already have been started working on games, right? So they will still release their games on the old engine because, you know, there's no time to completely rebuild the game
Lapino.
when a new
Apparently, the
engine
man
comes
ran
out.
it
Now
so
this
the
one
Pegasus that he
is
didn't
actually running on
exactly know.
Unreal 4.
Lapino always
So
knew how to
I don't know.
travel in time.
It may be one of
But he
the
was out of
earlier
time.
ones
The
to
Ravens
actually
had
come
figured
out
that Lapino
running
was a rebel
Unreal
spy.
4.
If the fleet reached
I
him
have to
first,
check, but
they'd string him up for that. Never
I think
mind
it's
the winged
you know, it
horse.
has to be pretty early because Unreal 4 is not that old. So this time we're going to save our friend. Let the demonic sword be damned.
Lapino
So
had apparently managed to confuse the judge by arguing.
okay, this is the environment that I was saying really looks impressionistic to me. I think it's more noticeable here because of the bright colors. And in this one, we start with a workbench access, and we've got a lot of resources that we can craft something here. Looks like the only thing we have available is we can upgrade the hero sword.
His trusty old sword was always a little better when he sharpened it.
Nice. I like the narration stuff, as I've said. So we got a treasure chest here. Maybe we would have been able to build something else. Oh, I bet we would.
Oh, sweet! A gem. All he needed now was a workbench, and he could slot it into his gauntlet.
Okay, so we'll go here. I haven't seen this yet, actually. I missed that chest the last time I played. So we've got elemental resistance. We'll put that in. So yeah, this is sort of probably comparable to the Witcher's mutagen system. You can slot it in, and I imagine you can interchange them fairly easily. We've got an altar, but we don't have any skill points. I'm just gonna use this to move along quicker.
Don't we
just agree to disagree?
Who predicted that this area would be an encounter by the way it looked? So we'll get you. Whoa. So let's try the. Yeah, I guess the special ability for the hero sword, and maybe it's just a stronger hit, maybe quicker. I'm not sure.
People were frightened these days. Just 2 weeks past, Renato had sneaked through an empty town and listened.
And just like any good ARPG, you know, in this style, like Zelda, you know, Diablo, any of that stuff,
To fight inanimate objects.
you can break the barrels. And that can be profitable at times. Especially since, at least in this build, there seems to be no passive energy regeneration. So it's pretty helpful to try to find the energy things in the crates. And maybe I'm missing how that mechanic works. Maybe it also recharges when you do basic attacks in combat. Let's watch that the next time we fight.
The village was silent.
Okay, nothing here.
No cows load,
Oh,
no chickens
okay.
plucked.
I think we need to go this way, actually.
The villagers had
Kind of
fled
double
from the fleet,
back.
taking everything they could.
I think the upgraded hero sword works for this. It appears to. If I'm walking a little wonky, it is because I'm using not a very good controller, actually. And that's the controller's fault. It is not the game at all.
Renato checked to make sure his sword was still working. Yep.
Good. Can't be having a non-working sword. Oop. Yeah. You know, it must recharge when you do a basic attack. Oh, I think it slows time. That's what that's doing.
Renato wondered if he could learn to cook this way. Probably not.
Got a treasure chest here. Got some ore. Oh, a gem. Another one. Here we go. Oh, here we go.
Renato felt like he was ready to learn new things. Thank goodness he didn't have to go to school for that.
Attack immediately when the previous attack lands to hits to land a perfect strike.
He
Okay.
missed his old skills. He welcomed them back like it was at a reunion.
Let's go and slot our gem. I think we can do
Your
that.
Workbench. He could try out his new bling.
Nice. Oh, the dash also blows up the barrels. That's good to know. Here we go. Am I doing the perfect strike? There we go, yeah. That's kind of hard to do. But I figured it was.
Hated war.
Now there's the Warlock again.
Stayed back and loved pain and death from a distance.
Come here. Get over here.
Dangerous. Effective now.
Alright, so switch to the fire sword. Ah, yes. And just so you are aware, I am not able to adjust the camera
A chill run down his
in
back.
this build
Possibly a
with the
fleet.
right stick. Again, let's see. Yeah, it's not on the control scheme, so I don't think that is currently enabled. But speaking as someone has seen the Unreal Engine, you know, that is something that they can add later. It's not. It's no indication that that will not be in the game. Yeah, it wasn't too hard. It's your lucky day, Barrels. Ah, here's Lupino. Hey, buddy.
Dirty and bloody, Renato finally reached Lupino. The rabbit was practicing his shuffle. Renato recognized
Shuffle?
the cards. It was
Thought I was
Lupino's
rescuing him. He's just playing
favorite
cards.
deck. Oh, I thought you were in danger. I am. The ravens are coming. Oh, the prison thing. Right, yeah, we see this guard owed me 53 ducats. So we made a deal. They're very reasonable people, actually, for weasels. Now, I got a brilliant plan to kidnap Zenobia. We capture Zenobia, we find out what she knows. And that's the whole war right there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Something tells me it's
Capture
not
the
quite that
Emperor's
simple.
greatest general, who also happened to be a deadly sorcerer and his only daughter. That would be worth it. On the other hand, he could still get to the core of the Sky Ripper, even if he couldn't get the whole thing. It must have great power.
So yeah, now that we have Lupino, we have kind of different choices. And, well, they're similar choices, actually. If you recall from before, there was one about Zenobia. And then also this one to find the shard. But if you think about it, things will be totally different because we did something different with the first choice. Let's do Zenobia.
The Emperor's daughter, of course. She'd been Renato's best friend in Sword Fu school.
Sword Fu.
And you're still mad for her. The rabbit reminded him.
Oh,
They'd
okay.
been close. She'd told him things no one else knew. But she'd never told him who she really was.
Yeah, that's
She
kind of
knows
an
all the
important part,
Emperor's
don't you
plans,
think?
chuckled the master spy. She won't give them up easily. She'll tell the interrogators, all right, said Lupino. Taking her would change the game, all right.
Oh, it's a bit of a pun, don't you think? Because it would change the game you're playing. You get it? I thought it was funny. So it says PS4 only on there, but they told me that they're making a PC version as well. I don't have release dates yet. I think I think they are announcing that very soon, maybe during PAX. I don't know. If I do see that, I will add it to the description box below. But hope you've enjoyed this. This came out of nowhere for me, but I am really intrigued to see if they can pull this off, if they can pull off having kind of different narratives being told based on your choices throughout, kind of rather than having one choice at the end that defines everything, and that kind of thing. So I'd be curious to see how it turns out. So yeah, we will come back to this closer to release. Hope you've enjoyed this look at Stories of the Path of Destinies. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.